In our celebration of our Reformation, asked the question, and it's a question that was actually the answer revealed to us in the gospel reading, but the question is simply, what is truth? This is an old age debate. This is nothing new, although it does get talked about even in our own culture, our own kind of worldview, our philosophies that we see of this modern age of this idea that truth is not concrete, that truth is flexible, truth is always changing, and there's something new about that. That's been going on all the way back to the day of Jesus and even beyond into the history of Israel and the ancient world, that people have always wondered what is really truth. Pontius Pilate, if you recall, with his dialogue with Jesus as recorded in John, the Gospel of John is really about revealing Jesus as the truth. But even Pontius Pilate asked the infamous question, what is truth? Being a skeptic himself, can we really truly understand what is true? Because the problem is we all have, like that rhetoric we like to hear, we all have our different truths. What that really means, we all have our different opinions. Like even this morning, we all have different opinions about lots of that we like to say it is true. Whether it's true of who is the better football team, is it Michigan, Michigan State, Ohio? Sadly, I think we actually know what the truth of that is at this stage. But it changes every year, right? And even though you don't want to accept the truth, you're going to believe in this, it's my team, or is it the Lions, is it the Bears, or is it the Packers? Well, we get debatable about this, right? We all have, whether it comes to politics, what kind of car you should drive or not drive, what TV shows are the best. We all have different opinions, and sometimes those opinions become so firm and important and maybe close to the truth that we want to say it is the truth. And so that's okay. I mean, this is part of life. We all have different opinions and thoughts, but what about the facts? That's really where the debate is. Is there an absolute fact for everyone? And it's interesting, in our society, and again, throughout history, we'll always question what is the truth. Especially when it comes to morals, when it comes to how we live, who we worship, if we believe in a God, if there is no God. All those things get pushed off the side and said they're just mere opinions and fanciful thinking. They're not truth. But in this day and age, it just seems like when it comes to truth, concrete truth, everything is up for debate. Even when it comes to your identity or the question about gender. And that's one thing I think I shared with you, a conversation we had with a doctor, a medical doctor who does, is part of a clinic that helps out with runaway teens, especially among the transgender community. In her rhetoric, to talk about their truth or their self-expression in this kind of mosaic, her conclusion was there's really no binary identification of people, male and female, but it's a whole plethora of identities and expressions of how we can look at ourselves. Just for example, I mean, there's other examples of how we can just take something that looks so concrete 10 years, 20 years, 50 years ago, and now it becomes like, well, it's whatever we feel comfortable with. And that's really the question of morality, is what is the truth about what's right and what's wrong? And basically we had defined it is that, well, what's right, what's true is whatever feels comfortable with you, as long as that truth doesn't hurt anyone else per se, as long as it doesn't really hurt you, then it must be okay. That's what's true. And so what happens in our lives, though, we become like whacking in the, or flapping in the wind, or on a boat in the waves. We have no steady ground. Or kind of what I mentioned last week, that sense of truth. When we don't have a concrete truth, we don't have an absolute truth. We were like that man who built his house on the sand. And then when the storms come, what happens to the house? It just crumbles. If we really take a step back and look at society, society is crumbling, but not just society. Let's just look at ourselves. How often we question truth and we want to make our own truth. And then look at our lives, how much we struggle. We're stressed, we're struggle with depression, we struggle with uncertainty, we struggle with anxiety. Because there's no foundation for our lives. So when we talk about the Reformation, it's interesting. The Reformation, the story of our heritage, it really boiled down to that question of what is true. You know, back in the day, the church and in the culture itself was saying what is true. If you want a foundation, you need to be truly righteous in pleasing your life to God. If you live your way of life to pleasing God, and then you can find peace within yourself. Now the thing is, that's still the message today, it seems like. Whether it's in society or in our churches today. And again, it boils down to that truth that we kind of self-identify our own truth, like, hey, this is what it means for me to be a Christian. This is what it means for me to be a spiritual person. This is what it means for me to be a righteous person, that I'm going to do those things that's going to be praiseworthy to God. And so we basically define our own morals of how we're going to live. People do it outside the church, and people are doing it inside the church as well. Where we have come to define truth is this. This is the truth of the world. Live your life the best you can, the way you see fit that brings you happiness and joy. Be nice to other people. Don't purposely hurt anyone. And just do the best you can. Get those points, and hopefully you will have enough points at the end of your life that finally we can find peace in nirvana, wherever that is. That's the truth. It's like The Good Place. Who's watching The Good Place? All right, you should watch The Good Place because you can have a whole Bible study afterwards. Because you know what The Good Place is all about, is finding what? The truth. And basically it is, how can we know we are saved? It's a fabulous piece of writing. And what's fascinating about it, it's not obviously not a Christian show. It's not written, as far as I know, by Christian people. But it's non-Christian people, probably spiritual people, deep-thinking people, very people asking big questions who are writing this show. How can we make it to heaven? And it's interesting, what's great about it is that the premises of the point system I just mentioned here, if you want to go to heaven, if you want to go to the good place, you need to be what? Good. And you need to accumulate those scores. You need the highest score. You need more positive points than negative points. If you get those negative points, you're going to go where? The bad place. I can't watch the show. And you know, I'm going to spoil this. I'm sorry, this is season 3, but what is revealed, this is what's fascinating about the show. What's revealed to us is that, guess what? No one is going to the good place. They can't make it. Doesn't matter how hard you try. Doesn't matter what you do. Doesn't matter how good you are. You were never able to get enough points to get to the good place. There hasn't been anyone gone to the good place the last 500 years. Sorry, spoiled it. It's not a big part. It's not a big reveal, somewhat, but there's a lot more to it. You can still watch it, all right? It's only 4 seasons long. This is the last season. You can binge this in the weekend, okay? And then come talk to me about it, okay? But that's what the world bases their truth on. And when it comes to morals, what makes something good? Well, it really boils down to, I can be nice, I can be caring, as hurting anyone per se. It's kind of a vagueness, but then they see that vagueness of morality really gets you nowhere. And so going back to our story of the Reformation, it was in some ways kind of the same way. It's just basically in the same way in this way. If you want to have the guarantee of salvation, you got to do X, Y, and Z. You got to live faithfully and righteously the way we explain it to you. And that's how Martin Luther, as we know our story and our heritage, that's how he lived his life. He's trying to live up to those expectations, and he himself came to realize it is impossible to do so. I see too many of those negative points in my life. There is no way I can ever please this righteous God because I can see nothing about my sins in my life. And so as we read to you a few moments ago in Romans 3, that was the bulk of the Bible that Martin was studying at the time. He was also studying a lot in Galatians, which was an excellent book, that revealed to him that there is a new righteousness apart from the law of God. That there is a way to be righteous apart from those good works or the morality that we cannot do. There's a way to be righteous. There's a way to get those good points without actually achieving and getting those good points, since it's impossible for us. And that righteousness comes to us through what? This is your cue. Jesus. Faith in Jesus. I just want to make sure you're paying attention here. Our righteousness apart from the law, and that righteousness of God is our faith in Jesus. Apart from the law, apart from works, because we all fallen short of the glory of God. No one is perfect. Now, again, that doesn't excuse us. That's not freedom to go out. This is not the truth to go out and say, well, I can do whatever I want then. No. Romans 6, don't you know that we who are baptized in Christ died to that sin? In fact, because of our faith in Jesus, because we've been made righteous in Jesus, we are led out to live righteously in this world as a praise, the celebration to the glory of God our Father. With the praise of our hope that we have been saved in Jesus. I know we go out this world, and once again, we'll be bombarded by all kinds of truths. And as a Christian, living a solid foundation of the truth is definitely what's recorded in God's Word. But the truth that embodies that is Jesus Christ, who has come to set us free. That's what we need to know. And that's what we have received here this morning. Christ coming to set us free. That's what's true. And Christ is coming to this world to set everyone free. To call upon His name. To believe in Him. To follow Him. That's what's true. But I know that the second we walk out of this church and we go into the world, how quickly Satan covers up that truth from us. That's why we have to come back over and over again to be in His Word. That's the truth. That if we're looking for hope of salvation, if we're looking for purpose, if we're looking for meaning, if we're looking for anything that we can hold on to that's concrete, it's in Jesus Christ. The Lamb who was slain, the man who was risen from the dead. Jesus is the truth. And so let's live